because all I can see is the chair. What I don't know is the hole down there. That if any movement, I'll collapse into, what do you call these sinkholes? It's like I will go into a sinkhole. This is exactly what this economy was doing. We were living a very fake life. We were literally at the point of going into the sinkhole. Ukuivila, tuaikele pachipunda. Hear me, Loch, and the Zambians that are listening. Where the economy was, it was fake on top. But people can tell that even on top, we had started feeling the heat. Even on top. Even an ordinary Zambian today would understand when we say we had overborrowed. Every Zambian would understand that when you borrow and you are failing to pay, where are you? And no normal father would say, twali kongola, nangu tatulipide na tule yafi. That's the way they were. And that's the way they are thinking today, unfortunately. We don't care about the debt. We don't care about anything. Na tuli elelo. Where I come from, they'll say, walialimo, washiko buchinga. You eat once and you forget about tomorrow. That is not how you run as a family. That's not how you run as a nation. So what we found, Luchi, was at a point where, remember, that our colleagues in the previous government, they had even stopped the projects countrywide. Why did they stop a project that you began? You start building a house. Wakula atinga ifikile fe pamutenge yonse lekemi. Pusha yote tinangufie forgive me. Nangufie. Olifie umuntu fye oshaile kusukulu. Kutu wakana okuishibati fumofia lubanapa. That was declared to the nation that there was no more money to complete their projects. What is the implication? Tomorrow you can't complete your house. Where are you going to stay? You are in a rented house probably. Tomorrow you start failing to pay. What are you thinking about? Mwafirwa, what are you thinking about? It means, Luchi, that the next moment you are outside. You are thrown in the court because you can't pay your rent. You haven't completed your house. The food at home. Because everybody will mind the house first. Now, if the house is not there, you can't say we'll continue to eat. We'll sit under the tree. I am just giving a picture of what the situation was like. We had overborrowed. We were in default. We could not afford the social service delivery. We couldn't. And it was a matter of time. But you see, Zambia is a Christian nation. And by God's own love, he decided that there was need for change. Because PF was not going to manage. Just if they had stayed another 1 year, maybe 6 months, with the default. Alen Kongole, when you can't even go to neighbors to borrow, that's where it was. Nobody was ready to lend to Zambia. Mwena Zambia, ipo tuafikile. Tuafikile pa kusevana, tuafikile nge chalo, ndefa mule imona nge nganda. Husband, wife, and children. Think of Zambia as such and see where we were. Nothing. Baneba tetuba mikongweshe. Family yaka noku mikongwesha. Tamukwete napa kumokuboko. Ushe mwalai bati tulifia bwino. Ngoli mukashi wa mano. You go to continuously buy expensive clothes. You are a loving father? No. When we talk of these things like you spoke to, the macroeconomic stabilization means you care. The foundation must be strong. Chawa mana ukwatenganda, mwalia libidi. Pantu mulimunganda, kuchilo kuseba nina panse. So to us, the situation was very, very bad. And today, what have we done? Nkongole shiramu akongwele mwe bantu bakwalesa. Shile batwali shiripira shonze. Efilia, we promised, even here, I think one day or, one interview, we talked of restructuring the debt. We had gone through HIPIC. That was over. Nobody was ready to just say, forgive Zambia. We had to sit with the new confidence after the change of government, which we had promised. People were ready to listen to the new government, and they listened. The lenders listened, and what came out is that we have restructured. And as Zambians mwe bantu limo chine at a profit has no honor in their own place or their own country, because ikuchitari structured debt nga tatwachitire nga twalingira mwe muchilongoma, we would have been dead, buried economically. But ukuyalanshanya naba tukongweseshe atifuna tukwata amapange ya kulipira bwino tupeni kwa kashita. That's what it means to restructure. Tupeni kwa kashita lundeniko elo tuchefeshe niko nesha kulipira pamwaka. That's why we moved from paying, is it a 2.3, bad with figures, to paying only 2.8 or 6 to only 900. That means ishisha shala eifimule mule chitashani mweba sangire nangu chimo.
But when do people start to see the benefits?
It is
because I think that's the biggest challenge that exists, to say, okay, fine. And again, this all comes back to communication in my eyes.
Exactly.
It comes to communication. That maybe the communication was done poorly at the time, and that's why I was surprised when you came and said we thought it would be a lot easier than it currently is.
Yeah.
But when do people start to see these benefits? Because they'll say it's been 5 years of no benefit to us.
After Luchi, 10 years of destruction. Colleagues who came in, the same things you are talking about, they found a very stable macroeconomic, situation in the country. They found the forex we talk about, the foreign exchange rate, very low, at 4 point something. That's where they found it. What else can I talk about? All those indicators, the GDP growth. Now, in 10 years of destruction, going down, the inflation itself skyrocketing. Inflation, I think, is something to really talk about, because then in the ordinary mind, why, if inflation is low, why is the price high?
No, actually, the comments are inflation is single digits.
Yes.
And yet bread is 27, 25 kwacha. But when inflation was in double digits, it was much cheaper.
I spoke to that.
Yeah.
That's why I said that was fake.
Yeah.
That was very fake. When you were giving, look, for example, at fuel, the issue of fuel in any country is a driving factor in any production. In any production. Now, if the cost of this fuel is as high as it is today, at the origin, the original place where we are getting this, how then do you expect us to have lower than we do because of the same forex? You have to cushion this. And when you talk inflation, maybe I should say, I don't know. When I was giving this example many times in Parliament, and I used to abuse my son, Kafwaya, that Kafwaya, inflation must be described not in the manner that you think, that because the price has gone down. You have never been to a country 5 years ago where you found a price of a pin at 1 kwacha, maybe $1 or 1, and then you go 5 years, you go to the same shop and you think it will be 5. That is not the way I understand inflation. Inflation is when you start skyrocketing quickly, the prices going up. But this is where we are saying we found a situation that was bad. The inflation was at 24 or 23, somewhere there. We have brought it down to single digit. That means stability. Tekwebati mitengo ilapona, please. I don't think generally you'd find a suit you were buying, at the 10 kwacha. For example, I'll tell you what it means. My salary when I started work many years ago was only 184 kwacha. Teachers there will acknowledge. 184 kwacha. Over time, no teacher can get 184. Not even any lowest you think of income earner. What does it mean? Prices will always go up. And when you stabilize, it's not about coming down. The effect of what we saw going up was the effect of the 10 years of destruction. You remember? We were saying, look at the kwacha losing power in their time. And when the kwacha loses power, then the prices go up. And now, when you are tackling it, what you need is to stabilize. That is what it means. Not to mitengo. I used to see an advert. I think I even referred to it one time. There was an advert some time back on TV. And I used to laugh because there were tires that were being sold, advertised. And somebody would say, mutengo. Do you just bring mutengo? There are many factors that affect this. But the inflation is an indicator that there is stability. You don't pull down. Generally, you don't pull down. The 184 kwacha was able to do the things that we did. But the things go up, the salaries go up. So for us, what we need is to continue to earn that which will balance.
Okay.
That.
There are many voters who are listening to you this morning. And there are some who are undecided. There are obviously some who've already decided what they want to do.
Yes.
But to those that are a bit undecided about where they place their votes to, and they will have experienced the past 4 years of the stability that you talk about on the macro levels, but they may not have experienced lower prices for whatever it is that they need. How do you guarantee, or how do you assure them that, listen, in the next 5 years, the next term, things will become a little better than they have been?
They will.
Yeah.
And that is very important. I think we have our manifesto. Looking at our manifesto, it should be able to give comfort to the Zambian people. We were tackling the issues that we found, the issues of the bad economy, which affected the lives of our people. And now we have tackled that. And this is where the pain comes from. We have tackled that. We have stabilized the things we are talking about. We have grown the GDP. I hope you know that, Lodge. GDP is so irritating to a person who may not understand what it is. But GDP means twakusha ichuma chachalo kupitira mufyo tuleshita nefyo tuleshitisha. That means, for example, we come, I think, from 19 or so, 18, 19, and we have moved to 34. And it's our hope that by the end of this year, it may go to 40. That is growth. Yakula economy, eh? Ngalimunganda nishimule mwamba ukula shitisha kwa fintu file mipela ko impia ukuchira pafe mwale kwata. That should have an effect. But the issue is, what are we doing? If tu abombela po, inkongole tu abombela po, elo, ili abantu bale chula, I'll speak to that. Ili abantu bale chula, bafuire bamono kwe bati buchushi, tabupangirwe no buteko. What are we doing? That is why we are saying now, not to cool, tuasangile 2.2 minus 2.8 ukukula kwa economy. Tuakula, tuaimia, kufumia panshi. Nomba tuafisha, hapa kwa bati now, it's time to build on. The next 5 years is growth. It's set for growth. And growth, that is when the people start feeling the effect of the work that has been done, the real effect of the work that has been done in the sphere of the economy. That's not my space normally. But This is ordinary thinking. Ilio tuwai miaka vili ifintu tuwakula. Ati tule kula nomba tule ya pamulu abantu bekale bwino. Umuntu wese walile. AIKONA man. AIKONA man. Abantu abafilirwe basanga economy isuma. Bayo naula, baingisha na panshi ubo na ushi. Ile loba bwile. AIKONA man. AIKONA man. We Muzambiani. Na uchula kalenga tulandefyo. Nga mwaiba bantu wale chula cost of living. Nomba tu afika pakwe bati nomba tutampe ukuchibondola. Ati natuwelele kunuma kwa farao. Huh? Yes, we didn't promise roses. We said there will be hard work. And this is one of our values, hard work. And the president has led in the hard work by working, negotiating with those lenders to forgive us and give us relief. And now when time comes, you want to come back? Mwebe na Zambia, kwa Farao, to go again to people who don't mind about the reserves. People who don't, how can you trust a president who says, no tukulapenda fiempia, nifo tuwefu ayokulia. Mulie! Kwati mwaiche, tilete nifo tufilie mailote mulando. Any mother keeps a little for tomorrow. Any mother keeps a little for tomorrow. We keep. So, this is growth time. And that's why you have heard, in growth of this economy, let me just put the 10-10, 5-3-3-1-1. I hope we all understand mwewe na Zambia. Ilio tulela andaya ama figures te yakulota mapange yesu. 10. The first 10 is mumataba 10 million metric tons. Mwalabi batifya isa shani ifyo kukwikala bwino. File pilibula ifinga tuleba tukalimia amataba okufika hapa chilela ngati abantu abengi bakaba involved. 1. Ninchito twalila that farming is a business. 2. Na agriculture sector inenishi ile kula. Ninchito futi jobs. Do you understand? We are targeting job growth in farming, in agriculture. That's why we are mechanizing. We want young people to also participate in farming. That's the future. And that's why we are not saying kaviye mkulimanaka kasu. No, we are saying we mechanize. We already have put mechanization instruments or equipment in different districts so that people can participate. The other 10 is 10 megawatts of power. Is it 10 whatever?
10 megawatts.
It's the mega.
Yeah, I'm curious about this 10,000 megawatts because you've had 5 years, but the figures are not anywhere close to 10,000.
Wow. This is not 10,000.
No, I understand that the intention was never 10,000 at the time. Yeah. But I mean, everyone will always make the argument to say we lived through 4 years or 3 years of load shedding. SMEs collapsed. Many SMEs collapsed because of load shedding. And here is the party that wasn't able to find solutions to get us.
Are you sure, Luchi? You say we completely didn't find solutions?
Or maybe the solutions came later than people might have wanted.
Life is like that.
Okay.
Life is like that. Let us face it in reality. Yeah. Yes, I may have to accept that may be a little slow. But the issue of power, I've argued before, the deficit is not a UPND issue.
But unfortunately, you have voted in to figure out the solution.
Exactly, and that's why we are figuring out. But like you asked me before, it is what was the past. You can't figure out, you can't find a solution today if you don't know what the problem was. The problem was lack of investment in the energy sector. This government came, and of course, when you are comfortable, sometimes you don't see the need. I think that we had that on our plate. We were a little slow. I have to admit that, because this power shortage has been known for a long time. What is it? Today, the same people who may want to blame us also had an opportunity. So can we leave them out? Don't listen to them. AIKONA man. Don't listen to those. They had an opportunity. Yes, this is our opportunity. And in our 5 years, we have had to increase generation capacity. Yes, I think the 2023-2024 drought was also a wake-up call. But remember, the deficit does not only come the deficit does not just appear. It's because of the things that are happening in the environment. We were hit by the drought, which depleted the water. We were hydro power dependent. That was a wake-up call. Before that, there were power deficit. There was power deficit, but not to that extent. But it made us wake up. Remember that the industry is growing under this government. That you have to know. The deficit is coming also from the growth of the industry in manufacturing, in mining. So sometimes the deficit should not be seen like it is shrinking. It is growing at the extent of the demand. So the demand has grown. And thank God for Haka in the Hichilema, because he has put policies in place that have made the industry grow. Economic whatever zones, they are there. Mines are growing, so the deficit is there. Hydropower cannot be fully dependent on because of the climate change. So what have we done? And even today, it's not an easy thing. Don't think we remained just there and then suddenly power was again enough. No, because there have been interventions. One of the interventions that will continue is to grow the generation base. This is why we are calling it energy mix, power mix. We have gone to ensure, to invite and attract investment in the solar. Solar energy is now stored. Solar energy is really covering us. I hope you know that there are many solar plants. Mwebena Zambia. Tulekula ama solar. Ayo ayala afwa. Ayale afwa pali inonshita. Ushita tuishi wetu kuchisamba kuli solar. 300
megawatts.
Yeah.
I wonder, in hindsight...
So we are resolving that. To say we are not, we are resolving that. The president last year, when it was, in that house where I used to sit, it was power.
It was power and exports, wasn't it? It was power and exports. Lots of arguments with people saying, and that's why I wanted to say to you that hindsight is always a wonderful thing, because you could sit here and think in hindsight that maybe it could have been communicated better, or maybe we could have, rather than continue to export, because that's the argument everyone has, that you're exporting rather than taking care of your own.
No. The export issue, I think, Luchi, maybe I am mistaken. There are obligations. Obligations. And even with those obligations, most of those signed under the Patriotic Front, like Namibia. Namibia was not taking into Namibia, the little that I know. It was taking to Katimamulilo, the border, which affects you and me. And that was signed before us. You don't just go. There are legal obligations in contracts. You don't just say, grab it back. And it was working for Zambia as well, because that border, caters for all of us. The issue of other areas, there was even a reduction. You see, so we have not been exporting power like abnormally. In fact, we reduced that. We are the ones that are importing power. Please, when power is transiting through our country, that's a different matter. Power transiting through our infrastructure is a different matter. I am aware that there are some companies that import power to send it through, some of it to our own. That's not our power. Some of it being taken to our mines, the mines in the country, but beyond that to other countries. That is not your power. This is a business thing. And even when they do that, even when they give that power, they pay for using Zambian ZESCO infrastructure. So let people not confuse that Zambia is exporting power. We are actually importing more. I can't explain fully. We are importing more, for example, from Mozambique. We are importing more. It is an exchange. It's an issue of infrastructure, transmission. So Zambia has not been careless under this. I know you are saying explanation, maybe, but sometimes as Zambian, nangumulela andani shinaba salafye. No,
and the reason I say it is because people say things like in the past, again, I'm sorry, I'm going to make reference to the past, but in the past, when there was a crisis, an energy crisis, there are those that went and were able to import power from a ship. Why didn't this particular administration make plans like those? That way, at least you can sort of minimize the damage that load shedding did to a number of SMEs. Yeah.
And we did. It's not that we stopped, exporting power from the ships on the oceans. We did. We never stopped. And we had to work through to increase the pricing. All that is not just like import. This is why you need reserves, because even when we were importing, it was not profitable. But we had to do that for us to cushion. But today, it is the same import that is also helping. We are the ones that are importing. It's not it's not magic. But the issue is to ensure that we don't go through the same crisis.
So will we go through the same crisis again? Will we have load shedding again?
No.
But everyone thinks, everyone is of the view that this is temporal. That post-elections, because they don't understand. This is the problem. And maybe I can explain it. Maybe I can explain it in a football analogy, which is what I understand more than anything else.
I hope I understand you in that field.
Take a team that is in one season they are facing relegation, right? They don't buy any player in the next season. Nothing changes, and all of a sudden they're number one. Everyone will start saying, "But wait, how did this happen? How did this happen overnight?" Yep. And that's the argument that people have to say. 1 minute there's massive load shedding, and then the next there's nothing. How is this possible? How is it? Is it because there are elections along the way? And then do you think that might then change post-election? So maybe you can assure everybody to say, listen, nothing will change.
Thank you very much. No, this team may not have changed, but they think through problems as they come. And that's why we have thought through that this team will not continue to be hydropower dependent. One, we may have the drought again. And even if we don't, it is possible that, not possible, it is unlikely that the power generated from hydro will be sufficient. That is why I'm saying we have gone solar mix. Solar all over the place. I hope I could have a list. I think we hear solar plants in Kalomo. We hear solar plants in Chisamba increasing. Chisamba is increasing. They will soon be commissioning. That's not temporal. Are we going to destroy those solar plants? Solar plants in Imasa? Solar plants, is it Serengem? Somewhere there? Solar plants all over. Are they going to be destroyed? Because this is what is increasing power. Please, not everything. Hakainde loves the people of Zambia. Hakainde cares for the people of Zambia. And this is why it's not about just elections, it's about the people of Zambia. The infrastructure that is being put in place in power is not going to be destroyed after elections.
So in other words,
it's a permanent situation. We also have the thermal. I think we have heard the core issue in Mamba expanding. I think I saw the signing with some company. I can't remember which country they came from. I saw it signing to come and build massive solar fields to provide, power. Are these going to be destroyed after elections? Let us not put everything to election. That's why we are fake. That's why we lie to people. This government will not lie to its people. We will admit where there is a problem. You remember my president actually did admit on the issue of of energy. And I still remember, I am saying it with all my heart, that we had a gap. We slowed down a bit. But because we didn't have that need. A need makes you think and try to find a solution. The solution, Zambians, is permanent for Zambians.
So there will be, in other words,
after that, there will be no load shedding. Remember, we are saying we need 10 million megawatts.
10,000 megawatts.
10,000, sorry. Yeah.
Don't worry, I know. Numbers are not even my strong suits.
Oh,
so
even
don't
you.
worry. Yes.
Sorry. So it's yeah, because this may not even be a need for Zambia. We want to exceed the Zambian demand and be able to export. This is the vision. It's not just to stay. Because for us, this administration and an economist is that we should produce excess to sell and make our GDP even better.
For a long time, your administration has been saying that we want to reach 3 million metric tons of copper.
Yeah.
We haven't actually managed to do this. I think the last number, even though I think it was one estimate was saying we hope we can reach 1 million. Again, that estimate was never reached. It was, I think, last figures we have is about 800,000 metric tons. I am curious, when you talk about us increasing copper production and getting to this 3 million, how do you do it? How do you do this at a time where people have these suspicions about mining companies? They have suspicions that mining companies are not paying what they should be paying in tax. Some people like to say tax holidays. Are you just able to explain to people how you can achieve this 3 million metric tons that you speak about, considering all of the other things that are going on in the country?
One, the issue of power itself. Remember that it also had an effect. And it is still our hope, but that by the end of this year, we will hit the 1 million target. Target setting is important. You don't just go to Pante. What is it that you want to achieve? Yes, we still remain with the 3 million target. We are increasing, the mines are growing, and we have to continuously ensure there is power. They are also helping in power generation because this work must go on. Now, when you say tax, I want to understand it in a very simple way. Anyway, just before that, I can tell you that, for example, FQM is the highest, do you use the highest, paying entity, contributor to on the tax part. A lot. They pay the highest in the entire country. So what are you talking about? They pay tax. But if you want to squeeze them into a regime where they are too scared and they go, do you know that you are reducing tax beyond the tax that they pay? The tax comes in many forms. That includes the tax that a worker pays. You are better off having a worker. I'm not saying they are free. As far as I'm concerned, the policies are very good to the Zambians. The agreement that was remade, is very good for Zambia to earn something, to get something from these mines. Not the way it was, where declaration was hindering how much they could declare to the country. The regime has changed in that score. But remember the workers. We are talking about jobs. These people who get jobs, do you realize that they also pay tax? They don't only pay tax, they have a livelihood. We care for those. That is why colleagues, in trying to squeeze, they ended up, do you know FQM was winding up? I'm sure you are aware. Because it was all in court, it was all quarreling. And today, all those workers would have been redundant. Are you saying poverty levels would have been better, would have been cut? No. But those that are working, with the opening of new mines, like nickel mine, we have more workers, Zambians working. They are paying tax back to the treasury, but they also are looking after their families. They closed because of the abnormal policies. or whatever wrong things. I may not use that all the time. Some mines failed. Remember KCM. Reopening that. Jobs secured. Come on. We have, there is a ripple effect, whether you like it or not. They are contractors. Those are jobs. You would rather keep them. They pay well, but they also keep our people. Mopani opened. Suppliers and everybody, the chain, the workers, all these were unemployed. So when a person who was in the previous regime talks of creating jobs, you collapse the jobs and you want to come back. Then what are you going to do? Then you run Mopani better, you run KCM better, you run FQM better, you run now the new mines. Is it Mungomba, Cobalt, things like that? Are you going to run them better? You failed. Zambians, mwilale ka ababufi baleisa. Ababufi bese wali bepe na kabili. Imwe bashimayini, inchi totashapwile. Imwe ba supplier, mwalekta supply kuisa. Babwele lapo na lelo? AIKONA man. Babwele lapo na lelo? AIKONA man. Luchi, that should not be allowed. That's why natila batu aikele pachilongoma. Ubufi, inchi tola. Unless I'm lying. The people at FQM were ready to fold and go home and live on what? Come on. Love the people more. Love the people more. Maybe allow me to say this government is aware of the difficulties our ordinary Zambians face in the area of livelihood or living. When you talk of cost of living, we are aware. Why do you think we do things like social cash transfer, enhance it? I want to say this because it's like the government is so happy to see people suffering. No, there are interventions. Knowing the situation today, there are interventions that go to the Zambians. Your Zambian budget is extremely pro-poor. Ilolesha pabalanda mwe bantu. Ilolesha pabalanda. Teitibalolesha pali wonse, that is true. Maybe you are there, atinga ine. But neba obenga na kwata, then you are a person of love. Be happy, because tomorrow it will be you. I just want to tell you some of the things that this government has done, particularly in the social protection. When we talk of the big thing, the free education, which single Zambian has not benefited out of free education? I was reading a story, maybe, I don't know when it came out, because I found it on a WhatsApp blog, that somebody met this lady who says she has 7 children, widowed, and their education was on her shoulder. It was a miserable thing to think of all the needs of school. Today, with free education, she doesn't have to choose which child goes to school and which one doesn't. Come on, that is a story. And you know what she said? I lost my husband. The burden was on me. Now Haka India has become the father of these children. He's sending them to school. You may be old like me. You don't have a child going to school. But think of the other person. Think of the blind lady. Think of the widow whose children are also going to school. Tutonton kanyaba nenso. Tumone free education ni free money. Iyo bale efumya kubuteko ukwafwa ichalo chonse cha Zambia. Nangu achula shani, nangu ni muka mfuilwa, nangu chile matamona, nangu fie alile mana, tenda, ngale sali mupela bana na ubala ya kuskulu. Ushikwe nita tule lande history. Ushikwe nita pali ushishi be Mzambia. Nikona nshi ya Zambia ubala batatufishi befi. This is money going to cushion the cost of living. Because now you can use it at home to buy a little vegetable, which you can grow also. Remember, kuli bursary increased, and also we have increased. This is for to cushion the living, the cost of living. Ile lo nama miwa allowance ayo bakenya abanensu busheta bayishibye twali babana abapina bafuma kwa kaputa nabo inonshita kuti baali apaskulu mewa allowance tatule muna buteko buleri pira so buteko tabupange mpia shabuko ubu buteko ilelo bulela ndoko bati bula pela kala tuitati food security pack through the Ministry of Community Development mwali ufwa kwa bali abapina bendi abengi abashiteti babe muri FISIP baba kuli food security pack bala bapela ko nabo baleri mako tunono twakubati balia year in year out the numbers increased ilelo ububuteko. Let's look at FISIP. Ubona ushibwa FISIP. This is what this government has gone twalireka if yakutwala fertilizer elo bale yakana ama families yamo nefie pantu bali mubuteko ni ba PF ilelo ni e-voucher cleaned up that ilelo bonse e-voucher bale poka fertilizer bale poka mwapoka fertilizer na papata ubuteko bwenu bulefu ya mutwalirire okuya kuntanshi ukulima ayamata batulela ndapo 10 million metric tons yakwisa na bafisipwe mubali ubuteko ebulepela abantu atilimeni pantu limbya abantu nga bayimo kulandikisha sana fisipu tule amata bayale onaika ababika mwempie shingi buteko bushakuti baleka yonaika mataba. They will do everything possible, and they will do everything possible to ensure that the people that have worked are paid. Remember, we have the social...
paid on time.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's... I hate to say it, but...
I know.
I'm sure you'll know that a lot of...
some of those that want
to get into office, other than yourselves, will say, well, look at them. They weren't able to pay farmers on time.
But you see where the problem is. I did hear that they are going to pay even before they... I don't know whether they will pay at planting or at harvest before delivery. We want to call it able fee exaggerating. That is not possible. How are they going to pay? Which measure? Yes, last year in particular, there was a challenge because our production was exceeded the projected as at planting or as at planning, and we had a challenge, but we managed to pay. We produced more. Now we are planning better. It's my prayer that we are ready to pay when people deliver the right time. It's not an easy task, but what we didn't want is to leave our farmers because this is the challenge. This is the challenge. People want to think of the consumption. At Chefia Nyubunga, Tabasaka many farmer which that toil throughout the year. Umutengo ube determined na balabene kula kuinoko wilefuma. Na boba farmer, mweba lima. Balefa ubunga buchepi umutengo, nga imemu alashi chapalishinga. So, ubunga bukulingana nefo mulechita. Even though government still comes through to help. You remember the ego milling. These are some of the things. Let us talk of the social cash transfer. Nimpia ndempia shabuteko ishi ya kubantu lutu. Isho abantu bapoka ukwabula icho babombele bapoka pantu fyebena Zambia. Abwaba shikwete amaka yaku imwena. Ukusakama na abachoshi. Esho buchitefi. Ile lokupitila muri CDF. CDF is both economic and social. Because ile bomba. Ile pala naba nono. Kuma skills na resource centers. Ukuya sambilila. Takwa bechachila pa masambililo. This is President Hakainde's priority. That's why you see free education. Ama bursary.
It's not perfect, is it? It's not perfect. For example, CDF. CDF hasn't been a perfect.
Not at all. Not at all. And I can't say that it has been perfect. There are many reasons why it has not been perfect, including sabotage from some members of parliament, from opposition, who may think abantu bala monati ubuteko bule bomba. That is sad, because when you are a leader, you don't look at who is providing the services to who the service is being provided, and you do it. That is one reason. Another reason is capacity, and we are working on capacity by the local governments. So imperfection does not stop you from going ahead with a good thing. Imperfection is part of humanity, but we are working on that, like I've said, capacity by the local governments. But you know what this CDF has done in many councils? They already have what we call yellow machines, the earth-moving machines. So it is our prayer that feeder roads must be kept properly, as long as we give capacity to these people. These are some of the things. Of course, I can talk about the pension reforms. Kanapsa. People say, tatule bati balire limoshonse kuba pela empowerment balina amaka bachitakamo to prepare themselves for retirement. As they get the retirement package, babako wino. Because some nga baisa apoka fe pension pamukumoni china bana kana okunaka kuli afye and back to begging. So there are many things that we are doing. Cash for work, all these are cushioning the living conditions of our people, those that are not able. This is what we are doing, including support to the vulnerable and the community, disability, so many things. This is what a government does.
Okay, let me take a little break, if you allow me to. Let me take a little break. When we come back, we'll open up the phone lines, 226-841-0978-895-895. You can send a WhatsApp message as well if you want to, 0978-895-895. Back shortly.
Good company. Let's go. Great music. Phoenix FM. Phoenix FM.
Tasty news just in. KFC is going all in for Zen. Don't change the station. You heard right. We are talking local flavors and slash prices on Streetwise meals. Like the legendary Streetwise one. Now with Nshima and gravy for just 55 kwacha.
Yeah, bah. It's giving Zambian flavor meets finger licking good. Laka!
Clock it. We're cooking. Get to KFC and get a taste. KFC. It's finger licking good. T's and C's apply.
Mapona ma grapes pano, orange, ma banana, na shamba zonse zilipo, budari mgule. Business yavuta mwe.
Boy, away from business, ma voting manje manje. What do you vote chino chaka? Ine ni the red boy.
Hiwe. Olo ni vote, olo sina vote, difference paribe. Business zankara ini mbegeza kono. Ifunika nipanga kondalama. So, sini vote yako ine.
Iya ina iwe. Voti yako ina mpamvu. Ni one day chabe kuvota. Voti yako imozi chabe ipanga difference yukuru. Ngati suna vote, usira venango mpata ya chitukuko.
Batuziva, vamene wakamba vapanga sense. Niza vota boy.
Good. Chigwire boy.
Don't just talk about the future. Cast your vote. Be heard. Be counted. Zambia votes 13th of August 2026. Count me in.
Zambia, are you ready to light up your fire? Join thousands of players enjoying the excitement of 22Bet Zambia. Register today and get a massive 300% welcome bonus on first deposit. Start with as little as 20 kwacha and receive up to 5,000 kwacha in bonuses. More value, more excitement, more opportunities to play and win. The fire starts here. Visit 22bets.co.zm today and start winning. T's and C's apply. Bet responsibly. 18 plus only. Zambia. It's time to light up your fire.
Phoenix FM. Phoenix FM. Phoenix FM.
It's 10:07. Welcome back to Let the People Talk. If you want to call us, 226-841-0978-895. That's the line you can use. You can also send a WhatsApp on 0978-895-895. Let me start with this. This is from somebody anonymous, Vice President. Good morning, Madam Vice President. My question is, why is the UPND government recruiting only health workers and teachers and